Hi, today is March 5th, 2023, and here are my poems for the day. The first one is poem number 377 for the year. It is called 11 Today. I think I'm going to end up writing 11 today. On Saturdays and Sundays, I tell myself I have to write 7, and for more than a year, I've been listening to what I tell myself about that. But I just wrote a quartet of haiku, and in my mind, they sort of count as one. In the past, I've given full credit to each haiku and counted each one as a single poem, and the next four will each get their own numbers and count toward the 10,005 years thing. But today, I will feel as though I'm cheating if I count the next four as more than one. But if I count them as only one and then write only 5 more, then that only comes to 6. So I have to write 2 more for a total of 11 that I will think of as 8, which will bother me because I prefer odd numbers, but I will live with that because what choice do I have? By way of background, all 4 haiku are speculations regarding the show that I will be doing at Essex Flowers Gallery on 19 Monroe Street in Manhattan that starts at 5 p.m. today. Because after I write these 11 today, and after Mama has had her breakfast, I will have to figure out which poems I will do at today's show. And it was on my mind during this morning's meditation, and the first 2 of the next 4 emerged fully formed in the meditation. And by the way, they were originally called Not This Poem, That Poem, This Poem, and Not That Poem. But I have in the past been accused of having an extra syllable in my haiku because I pronounced the word poem as poem and not poem. So I changed the word poem to 1 to avoid further controversy. I may have permanently banned myself from ever using the word poem in any type of poem where the number of syllables matter. I will settle that question later, if ever. Well, fuck me, that's enough of this. Let's get on with the show, although for me, the show doesn't really start until poem number 382. Poem number 378, not this one. I wonder whether I will do this one tonight. Nah, probably not. Poem number 379, that one. Then again, that one was perfectly cromulent. Maybe I'll do it. Poem number 380, this one. Then again, if I do those last 2, then this one might get mad. Poem number 381, not that one. If I were to say any one but that one, which one would I mean? Poem number 382, Imposter Syndrome. I was feeling a bit like a fake yesterday morning, and I'm doing what I can not to feel that way today. I thought I would face the issue head on and own up to my falsehoods and misleading behavior. I want you to know that I often come up with titles and sketch out ideas for the next day's poems on the previous day. Sometimes I have so many ideas that some of them get carried over for several days in a row. Then, if they don't get written or don't get finished after a week, I put them in the abandoned file. And then sometimes when I feel bereft of ideas, I go to the abandoned file and see if anything there triggers something. I say all this because I am aware that I sometimes give off the impression that every single poem that I come out with on any particular day emerged fully formed on that day, and that is not the case. And now that I am aware that I have led people to think that, I feel like I am an imposter. So now that I have told you that, hopefully I can get over that feeling. Poem number 383, Fake Glasses. I also want you to know that the glasses that I wear when I read poems are fake. They are non-prescription. They don't do anything. I have prescription glasses for distance, but I can't read with them. But I prefer the way I look with glasses. So for a long time in performance, I would read under or over my prescription glasses. I had a girlfriend once who had maybe perfect or near perfect eyesight, and she wore fake glasses sometimes because she liked to change. She wore fake glasses sometimes when she performed because she liked to change up her look a lot. And I thought, fuck me, that is a fine idea. I should get me some fake glasses. So I got a couple of pair of fake glasses, and I use them all the time in performance, when I make video recordings, or even when I'm at Zoom meetings. You know, it really does feel good to get that off my chest. Confession is good for the soul. Maybe I will get addicted to it. I have at least 2 more confessions to make today, and if I don't make them now, I'm really going to be jonesing. They are substantial enough to each merit their own numbers. The next one has to do with fake glasses, but it can't be called fake glasses because this one is called fake glasses. And the one after that will be about pre-recorded negations. That one might suck, and I may delete it. The next one is the one that I originally thought would be today's first poem. It was at the top of the heap of ideas that I compiled by yesterday's end. But instead of being poem number 377, it is poem number 384. Sometimes it takes me a long fucking time to just get on with it. Poem number 384, Pictures. I am also guilty of doing certain things that are designed to trick the Facebook algorithm into pushing my posts into more people's feeds. I post poems every day and I want people to see them. One day, I think I was whining about Facebook's algorithms in a poem, and someone suggested in a comment that I post a picture with my poems. And I was like, fuck me, that is a fine idea. What I think happens, though, is that sometimes people respond to the pictures instead of the poems. Like today, for example, the poems are not nearly as good as yesterday's, and plus, there are too fucking many of them. But this set will almost certainly get more likes than yesterday's because the picture is better. Yesterday afternoon, after finishing my recordings, I forgot to take my fake glasses off, and I went into the dining room to make my mom a ham sandwich. I know, and this morning I chopped up steak for Allie, the cat that they found in a courtyard, not an alley, but she's called Allie because she probably was an alley cat. But cats cannot be vegan, and neither can my mom, apparently. And before I got to the kitchen to make the sandwich, I remembered I had my glasses on, so I left them on the dining room table. When my mom came in to eat the sandwich, she said, "Are those my glasses?" And I said, "No, they are mine, and they are fake. If you were to put them on, they wouldn't make your vision blurry or anything. It would be like you're not wearing any glasses at all." And as she was saying this, she put them on, and I quickly snapped a picture. And I thought, this picture will get a lot of likes. I will post this picture with tomorrow's set of poems, and tomorrow's set of poems will get a lot more likes than today's. Which is a shame, because tomorrow's poems, meaning today's, will probably not be nearly as good as today's, meaning yesterday's. And in that moment, I thought about how I also claim to be indifferent about how many likes I get, or whether my Kindle books get noticed or bought, or how many people show up to my shows. And I still think to a certain extent that's true, but I also know that to a certain extent that's false. I do believe I'm real, if real means anything, but I also know I am fake, if fake means anything. Poem number 385, Pre-Recordings. Take a deep breath, Johnny. You've only got 2 more after this one, and you already know what they will be. And if you get any more ideas between now and the end of 387, they will just have to wait until tomorrow or later. I have another confession to make. I think it might be the worst of my art crimes. It's not about how I sometimes pre-record the daily negations. I feel bad about that, the first time I did it. But I have done it so many times that I'm almost numb to it. I justify it by telling myself that the brick wall background is nice and that I like the consistency. Like last Thursday, I recorded today's and yesterday's and Friday's negations because I knew that I was going to have limited time on Friday, and I knew that I was going to be here yesterday and today, but I even went so far as to think about what shirts I wanted to pack so that I'd be wearing the same shirt when I recorded the poems as the shirt that I was wearing when I recorded the negations for that day, which is pretty fucking ridiculous and maybe a little compulsive or something, but here's the confession. Several weeks ago, I had a plan to visit someone. I wanted to leave early in the morning on a Saturday. So on Friday night, I wrote a bunch of poems and recorded them as tomorrow's poems. I felt as though what I was doing was absolutely reprehensible. But as it turned out, my friend canceled, so I had time to tinker with the poems and rewrite them and replace them with other ones and record a basically new set that Saturday morning. And you would have thought I would have learned my lesson, but no, I actually considered writing 14 poems for yesterday and today and recording them at my home so I wouldn't have to worry about that shit while I was here at my mom's. And I think the only reason that I didn't was because I thought it would be impractical. As I write this down, it really doesn't seem so terrible. What's terrible is how fucking long this fucking set of poems is. Poem number 386, People, especially dead ones. I mean, I bet the recording of these poems is going to be well over 10 minutes and maybe close to 15. We're at 9:18 right now, and that is fucking ridiculous. But another thing I have done to boost my poems in other people's feed, is to name the first poem of the day after people, especially dead ones, especially people who died the day before. And that was yet another reason that I didn't pre-record this weekend's poems, because I thought to myself, what if Jimmy Carter dies over the weekend? Anybody who knows me knows that if Jimmy Carter had died on Friday, I would have a poem about him on Saturday, and if he had died yesterday, I'd have a poem about him today. I even just now checked my phone to make sure he hasn't died today, and as of 10:45 a.m. today, and actually, as of right before I recorded these poems, there's no news alert. So today is another day where I don't have to write that poem, so I am good. Let me confess 2 more things. I interrupted this poem right after writing, and that was yet another reason why I didn't record this weekend's poems. And I wrote the next one and basically finished it. So technically it should be number 386, and this one should be number 387. But, and this is my final confession of the day, I often reorder the order of my poems. They are not always numbered in the order in which they are completed. If that is a crime, then fucking sue me or arrest me, or how about, why don't you write your own fucking poems and get the fuck off my case? Yeah, I know I went on for fucking ever, but so fucking what? I've checked in on my mom like 6 times already this morning, and she's fine, so who am I hurting? Why don't you just leave me the fuck alone? You know I'm just playing with you. I'm not serious. But I'm outie. After the next one, I'm outie. And the final poem, poem number 387, Mama at the Reading. It's stupid of me to say if you're still here, because of course you are, otherwise you wouldn't be able to read or hear me say if you're still here. But if you're still here, thank you so much. I've been wanting to tell you all day that after I read and sang Invisible Dog to my mom yesterday, see yesterday's poem number 376, she said she wanted to go to the Jefferson Market Courthouse Library and see me perform Invisible Dog in front of a live audience. My mom hasn't seen a performance of mine in over 10 years, and I had resigned myself to the idea that she never would again. And she was not feeling great on Friday, so I thought it wasn't a great idea. But she wanted to be there, and I wanted her to be there because I wanted her to be there, but also because I didn't want her to be alone here while I was there. So we went for it, and we got there, and we did it. I had already asked if I could be put on early so that I could get back to my mom, so I knew that we wouldn't have to stay too long. And we got there at about 5 to 3, which was cutting it kind of close, but it was okay. The reading began a few minutes past 3, and I was on by like 3:07 and done by like 3:09, and I figured we could watch 2 or 3 more for the sake of being polite and then go. But my mom was having such a good time, and she saw 10 or 12 kick-ass poets, and she laughed and had fun, and I was so happy, so we stayed for about an hour. I whispered to Big Mike, who was seated next to me, that we were going to leave while he was on, because I knew he'd understand, and he said okay. But he ended up doing his thing from his chair instead of the stage, and I felt like we couldn't leave them because everyone would be looking at us, so we stayed. And Big Mike was so vulgar and so hilarious, and my mom liked what he did so much, as I kind of figured she would, that I was glad we stayed for him. And then, as we were leaving, Michelle Carlo came up to my mom, like outside the performance area, and she said such nice things to my mom about, how she goes to my brother's things. And anyway, just after we got out of the library, I said to my mom, we pulled off that caper, and I was almost crying, as I am now. Thank you for listening. It's 13 minutes and 15 seconds, and bless you.